The opinions expressed in the following programs are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Rogers Cable or Rogers TV.
Hi, and welcome to Politically Speaking. I'm David Shearman. My guest today is Paul Vickers, who is the MPP for Bruce-Grey-Owen Sound. Paul, it's always a pleasure to have you, although I have to say that this is just your second appearance on Politically Speaking, I think. Might be your third.
No, it's just the second one, Dave. So I appreciate this, and yeah, we had our first interview there back just after I was elected, and now we're just getting into the second one. So I'm looking forward to hearing your questions and trying to get as much information out to the public as I possibly can.
And that's what I appreciate about the politicians I speak to on Politically Speaking, because sometimes the information that people have isn't quite what has been said or is accurate, and well, we won't go there.
Yep.
Anyway, let's look at what. Let me ask you the question: what did you do this summer?
Yeah, well, we've been out in the riding between Canada Day festivities and openings and announcing Ontario Trillium funding announcements. It's been a good summer. I've got to meet a lot of people, to get feedback from them and just kind of get myself out there. People are starting to recognize who I am now. I'm not the who are you sort of a look to you sort of thing. So that's nice that the people are starting to recognize me, that I'm getting in front of the constituents of the riding. So and the fall fair season's been good too. So it's been nice to get out and around, and it's been a warm summer, but it's been good though.
Now, I have to ask you, as a farmer, did they ask you to do any judging of any categories at any of the fall fairs yet?
No, which was and not so much the agriculture side of the fair, but I was kind of really hoping for the baking and the preserves. I was if I had to get in somewhere, that's where I'd be trying to get in as much as judging the hay and the crops. It'd be the baking and the preserves would be my choice if I had to pick one. So.
Well, if any of the fair board members are listening or watching, please note that's Paul's preference. So take note for next year.
Butter tarts is my favorite.
Oh, wow. Say no more.
Yeah.
Say no more.
Yeah.
It's butter tarts are always a crowd pleaser.
That's right.
I have heard anecdotal stuff, and I've seen it occasionally, that butter tarts can go for absurd prices when they get auctioned off.
No, that's right. That's right.
Or pies or cakes.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the time that money goes back into the community. So there's a lot of good-hearted people out in Bruce-Grey-Owen Sound willing to put money back into the community that served them, sort of things. So yeah, it's good.
And the other thing that it's nice to see is that tradition of fall fairs is still very much alive. And COVID gave it a bit of a kick, but hey, there was a midway or a small midway here at Owen Sound and there were other fall fairs that had their usual events. So it's almost like we're back.
If you ever get the chance, go to Desborough Fall Fair on the Saturday, and man, there must have been 20 or 30 kids with their frogs at the fair, and there's nothing more exciting than seeing kids light up over a frog jumping competition. So it's excellent, and they had a good cattle show, and lots of tractor pulls out and around. You get down to Dundalk, they had some excellent exhibits. They had a great fall fair ambassador competition, and unfortunately their drone display couldn't be used, but they were good enough because of the weather. But they were good enough to send it up to Feversham, so they couldn't take advantage of it. They wanted it to be seen, so they allowed Feversham to take it over and show it at their fair. So there's a lot of it's not just they want all the fairs to do well. That's for sure. So.
Well, I have to tell you, I happen to know someone who was asked to, not this year, it was last year, to judge the baby contest.
No.
Nothing like judging the young citizens, eh?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't think there's any losers when it comes to a baby competition, is there?
There never is. There
No.
can't be any losers, Paul. There
Yeah.
can't be. But you also, I know you also had a barbecue with Alex Ruff, I believe.
No, Alex had it on his own.
Okay, I thought he said that you participated, but maybe
Yeah, I was there and,
okay.
was available for anybody that wanted to talk to me. But it was good that the two of us, we do end up at a lot of the same events, and it's nice that we get along and we can support each other, at the federal and provincial levels too. So, a lot of the politics are all intertwined. Right from the federal to provincial, all the way down to the municipal politics. So it's good, and I enjoyed. I did the stair climb for the firefighters challenge in Owen Sound, and Alex was there. He had his weighted vest on that I don't know how many pounds. I was just trying to survive. I carried nothing more than my shorts and my t-shirt and a bottle of water. So he's certainly a little bit younger and he's quite a bit more fit than I am. But I did manage to make it up and down the stairs 10 times around the Bay Shores. So it was fun doing that with him, and Mayor Body was there too also, and yeah, so it works out well when we all get along.
Well, Mayor Body did mention that actually at the most recent Owen Sound Council meeting that he was really, really impressed with the fitness level of our firefighters.
No.
They were, they did that run in full bunker gear plus scuba gear, the mask and
Yep.
tanks and
Yeah.
helmets. So it was,
And
and
that's all when
they
I
had
was.
tasks to do as well.
Yeah, and when I was doing that, that's all I could think. I was hot enough as it was, and I had no pack on, but the heat that they must have had with those full gear on, that's the part that I thought, geez, that's tough to do, eh? When you have a hat and a coat on, you're sweating inside, and you just wish you could take it off, but obviously they can't when they're doing their job. So it just shows the strength and the desire of our, and most of them are all volunteer firefighters, eh?
Mhm.
So it's like this is their side hustle is being a firefighter. They still have a main job, and that's the commitment we have up here in Bruce-Grey-Owen Sound, and I think it's great, and I congratulate any firefighter that takes up the call to do that, and the training that they get. They're there to help us. That's their job to help people on a bad day, sort of thing.
Mhm. And I live here in the city, and every time I hear the sirens going, doesn't matter if it's Owen Sound Fire or Inter Township, I always remember, thank you, glad you're there. I don't know where you're going, but I'm awfully glad you're available to us. Same with the police and paramedics.
Yeah.
So,
And I was just at the Inter Township Fire Department annual banquet there on Saturday, and there was I think there's 4 or 5 people that had 20 years services, and then there's another 3 or 4 at 15-year services, and they gave out some long time achievements to past firefighters, and that was what I said. Firefighters are changing. They aren't, their job 15, 20 years ago was to go to fires. And now they attend all the car accidents, the assist for the EMS and that sort of thing. So it's a lot different than what it was back 20 years ago. And some of those car accidents are pretty serious, and they don't always have good outcomes for people. But the firefighters are there to make sure that the scene kind of gets looked after, and the people that need to be helped can get out and get onto ambulances and get to hospitals if needed. So their jobs are changing too, but I congratulate them all.
yes, yes, and with the increasing number of EVs, those and they have big lithium batteries in them.
Yeah.
Those things can be quite dangerous if they're not handled properly, and that's what our fire department is trained in to deal with those electric vehicles that have batteries, because one wrong move and somebody could get really badly hurt.
Yeah, and again, that just shows the amount of training and the ability because everything's changing, right? So, like you said, I kind of forgot about the EV cars. A car fire before was a different beast than these battery that don't really go out. They have to kind of burn themselves out, sort of thing. So it's a different way of looking at it. It's a different procedure that they have to go to contain those situations. So it's something that they do a lot of training. The firefighters do, and I think it was three nights a week, no, 3 nights a month that the Inner Township said they had fire or had training, and those members are expected to show up to that. That's not optional. They need to show up and make sure their training's up to snuff. So
Well, we count on them.
that's
We
right.
count on them. Now, you mentioned the fact that you were making a lot of announcements about Trillium,
Yep.
but there's a number of other fun announcements that were made. And I want to start off with Chapman House and
Yes.
palliative care funding because that's a little different. That's not a one-shot deal. I understand the way I read the information. That's continuing funding to for an additional bed. Is that right?
That's right. They had funding for 8 beds up at Chapman House. When they built it, they didn't apply for that much funding, but they wanted the room to be there. So they've been using that room, as a spare room, but they've never had funding for it. And the Minister of Health notified us that they were being given funding to cover some of the operating costs because some of the operating costs comes from Chapman's fundraising. So it's not 100%. I think it's around 50% funded by the government, and the other 50% they fund on their own. So that was a great opportunity because healthcare is right from birth to death. And the when you're getting down the last few months of your of your life, it's nice that they have a spot to go to that helps out the caregivers and manage to kind of give them a break. So to have that extra bed because those beds are full all the time. It's important for the province to recognize that it's not just helping people get through their middle part of their life is to help people get all the way through till the end of their life, and this really helps out the caregivers as much as anything, and also the patients too. So, Chapman's do a great job of fundraising, and but the government comes through with some of that funding too, and it was a pretty happy day when I got to go up there and give them the good news about the extra funding. So they're very appreciative, and yeah, it's going well.
Yes, they've established a foundation for fundraising, and
Yes.
that's certainly worthy of our support. Uh, because I think they, if I'm not mistaken, the government funds the operational side, the staffing side, and they have to fund um, the capital side, and
Yeah.
plus other programs, plus other
Yeah.
certain programs beyond.
I know a little bit about it, David. I don't want to say something and have a
Yeah.
have a mistake, but yeah, there's something that it's about. Like I said, it's about 50% funded
Hmm.
from the
Hmm.
province, and
Yeah.
then the fundraisers, the board of the foundation. They help raise enough money to cover off the other half of the expenses. I don't know exactly what all the ins and outs, so I don't want to say in case I get it wrong. But it works well. It's a good combination between the province and the hospice
Yeah.
care.
And just to remind folks, Chapman House is one part of the palliative care network, but there's also palliative care at home,
Yep.
and there are other facets of palliative care that are funded by the government. So it's not just hospice. We're actually very fortunate that there's a broad variety
Yes.
of
Yeah.
options for people at that particular point in their lives.
That's right. And we try and allow people to live in where they are
Mhm.
and get as and stay there as long as they possibly can. It goes both ways. It's good for the person doing that if that's their desire and their wish to stay in their home as long as they possibly can. We want to make sure we can give them that care. It helps free up space at the ERs. It helps free up space at the hospitals. The nursing homes, we don't really have enough. So if we can delay, people going into nursing homes for a little bit longer, that's what we want. That's what we want to do, and that's a priority for our government to make sure there's dollars there and support there for people to stay in place. I forget what the formal terminology is, but it's basically to stay in your house as long as you possibly can, if that's your wish, and if you have the ability to do that. So we need to support people in that way too. Like I said, it's not all about babies and broken legs and replacing hips. It's about getting people right to the other end too. So I'm proud of what this government's done. We've increased the healthcare spending from it was around 60 billion when we got in back in 2018. I think it's over 88 billion, if not closer to 90 billion dollars now. So it's a priority of this government to make sure that there's funds available for the healthcare system, and we're doing our best to make sure that the money gets spent wisely in the places that we need.
Absolutely, and it's not a perfect system,
No,
but it does seem to meet a lot of the needs. I hear story after story after story that have even in dying have what I would call good outcomes. So and this is just one side of it. But let's move on to something a little more fun. Curling.
oh,
I see that Me is going to get a new ice plant for their
yes.
curling rink.
Yeah, so the Trillium funding's one of those good news subjects that we get to talk about, and it's great that the local curling clubs have really taken advantage of it, and also the lawn bowling. I've had a couple of lawn bowling announcements at the Ontario Trillium funding, and it just helps these smaller clubs that play a big role in the community. If we don't have curling clubs and we don't have lawn bowling clubs, it's one less way for people to get out of their house and to socialize and meet other people. So it's really important that we have places like that, and we want to make sure that they can continue. Meaford, needed a new ice plant, so if they don't have an ice plant, the curling ice isn't going to be in, sort of thing. So Terra got a new ice plant there last year that was also funded through the Trillium Fund. So I think it's great that we have the ability and a kind of a means-based way of going about it. That it's not just here or there. That it goes through a formal process, goes through the committee, and they can pick out the projects that they feel are important. Again, like I said, we need more opportunity to be socially connected to each other as opposed to just staying in our house and speaking over Facebook and some of the other programs. So I think it's super important that we have these clubs, and that as many people as possible can get out and enjoy each other's company and in the social part of it. And the exercise isn't bad either.
Right. You mentioned the selection committee. Just to be clear, it's a selection committee of peers. It's not people with influence.
No.
It's your neighbors.
Yeah, basically, it's people in the community that put their name forward, and as far as myself, I have no say of where the money goes. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I think it's about $100 million fund, the Trillium Fund, and then each area is given a certain amount of money, to do their projects, and then that area decides how they're going to spend those funds.
Mm-hmm.
So it's worked well, or it works well, continues to work well.
Yes, yes, indeed, indeed.
Yeah.
And the other really big announcement that happened was, of course, just recently with Chapman's.
Yes.
They were going to be investing $200 million in a new plant, and Mr. Ford showed up and said, "Hey, here's our contribution."
Yeah, it was a privilege to have the premier in the riding, and I was happy to be able to join him along with Minister Fedeli and Minister Jones from the Minister of Ag, and even Brian Saunderson, who's our neighboring MPP over in Simcoe Grey. He was also there, so it was great having everybody there. Yeah, it was a $200 million project. The province Invest Ontario. It issued a $27 million loan, And at the end of the 3 years, that loan has to be paid back. And if they increase their workforce by 200 people and continue to do everything they're supposed to do, $4 million of that is forgiven, and then they only have to pay back the other $23 million. So it's a good program for Chapmans to take advantage of. It also shows our commitment from government that we want to make sure we have industry that will provide good paying jobs in the rural and urban centers both. So that and it was pointed out at Chapman's that this isn't only good for the people that produce the ice cream sandwiches and the tubs of ice cream, but also the raw product of dairy. If they increase their production, they'll need more dairy. If there's more dairy needs to be used, if more dairy gets used, then farmers will benefit, and the trickle down effect from that goes all through the community, because then farmers have the ability to spend money, just like the employees of Chapman's. They keep pets, they go to the grocery store, they do stuff, they support the community. It all works out well and makes for a stronger community. So I'm really happy that Chapman's are a force that they are in the local community. And as a dairy farmer, I'm really happy that they use Canadian milk, and that just helps trickle down to everybody else in the farming community.
Well, not just that. It's a very, very much more broad, because hey, while cows may eat in the field and they may eat hay, there's other things that there's equipment, there's food supplements, there's all kinds of things that are all part of that larger chain.
Yeah.
And
And
Chapman's,
even,
I'm sure, will be employing local contractors and local
yeah.
tradespeople.
Yeah, the people that built these facilities, there's a lot of money. $200 million is what the spend is, and when those people are being employed, they keep spending those dollars, and it keeps making a stronger economy all the way around. So it's nothing but a good news subject.
And did I hear Ashley Chapman say that they hope to expand markets in Canada?
Yeah, a lot of their production goes in Canada, but they're hoping actually to look overseas.
Mm,
Obviously, just like a lot of other plants and families and manufacturers, the north-south area is the easiest area. If they were going to expand, to be the quickest and the easiest to get it down to the States. But the way things have gone, they're looking at expanding over into Europe. Not exactly sure how they're going to do it, but Ashley, he has a plan, and quite often, his plans do come to fruition. So it's exciting
well,
to know that.
believe it or not, those containers that we see on the road and we see on railroad cars,
Yes,
they can be freezers.
that's right.
So all they got to do is just put the ice cream into the container that's a freezer,
Yeah,
and ship it.
yeah.
Don't think they'll fly it across. That'd be expensive, but
I would think, David. Yeah,
I will know if I see on Facebook some of the folks that I know in Europe raving about Chapman's ice cream. Right now, they're raving about maple syrup.
yeah.
But if they start raving about Chapman's ice cream, we got it. We got it. We could say, hey, yeah, just
A,
down
a
the road.
couple a couple of years ago, I was out seeing my cousin, and he's on one of the islands past Vancouver, kind of in between Vancouver and Victoria. And I was there. We're getting our supper at a fry shack, and lo and behold, they had a Chapman sign out front. So if you can get you can get product from Meaford or Markdale, sorry about that, Markdale, all the way out to BC. I think there's probably less miles almost to get it to Europe, sort of thing. So yeah, it's amazing what we can do, and they're really proud of trying to make sure all the products that they use are from Canadian sources now too. So they're doing an excellent job, and the premier, obviously, he's a big fan of ice cream, and I'm also a
Yes,
big fan of ice cream. So I thought it was good that we were promoting a company that is so Canadian is what Chapman's is.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, let's turn things to health and healthcare, because that's always a perennial topic these days. I see the government continues to expand its primary care network and encouraging primary care providers. They just signed a new agreement with the Ontario Medical Association to get the doctors, for keep the doctors paid.
Yep. Yeah.
And get that done.
Yeah. Doctors have their union, their association, and we have just came to an agreement with them in the last period of time. I don't know exactly when it happened.
Mm-hmm.
So it shows that there will be stability and that there won't be any. There's always friction when you start talking about money. And it's great that Ontario Health and the ministry has gotten ahead of the curve and made sure that the agreement with doctors and the government is solid and is going to continue for many years to come.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that the government is doing its best to search out and connect people with physicians or healthcare providers. It doesn't have to be a doctor; it can be a nurse practitioner.
That's right. Yeah. So if you look at the figures, close to 90% of the people in Ontario already have doctors or part of a family health team, and we just have to make sure we connect the last 10% of that. And that's been a real focus for Minister Jones, the Minister of Health, in this since the election and before that also, to make sure we have the ability to do that. Some of the things that she's issuing, that the health ministry is issuing, will help connect those 2 million people, Ontarians that don't have a family doctor, and these family health teams is a major part of that, and they will draw from Ontario Connect.
Yes.
Ontario Connect. So. By making sure that these health teams are moving and continuing to gain traction, a lot of the time that's the way the doctors want to go now. The day of a doctor opening up a practice on their own and then having 1,000 patients come to his door, him or her, is probably a little bit of the old school. And most doctors here now, they don't want to have that much of a commitment. They want to be able to have the time to be able to go away. So if they're part of a family health team, the file will be part of that family health team, and either their doctor or another doctor that is part of the team can look after their file if they aren't around, and the use of nurse practitioners also. So and there's other ways. There's also we've allowed pharmacists to take on some of those responsibilities on some of the more common ailments, that they don't all of a sudden have to go to the doctor or go to the ER because they've got a cold. That those pharmacists can actually prescribe medication and give them hints on how to get over their colds. So these are all ways that the government is going about it. There's never one simple answer. There's always it takes probably 10 different solutions to fix the problem with that we've gotten into with healthcare and the shortage of doctors.
And speaking of pharmacists doing more hands-on healthcare and prescribing, one of the big shifts, of course, which came through COVID, was to have the pharmacists do injections, and so they were administering the COVID vaccines once we got past the mass clinics.
This program is brought to you by Rogers Xfinity, connecting you to more of what you love. Visit Rogers.com for more details. You're watching Rogers TV.
As I looked upon the battlefield in front of me, a German star shell lit up the desolate landscape. I watched as a bullet smashed through the bridge of my nose and left me to the mercy of the darkness. I worried I would be dependent on others for the rest of my life. But Sir Arthur Pearson and the staff of St. Dunstan's had other plans. With their help, I knew I could be self-reliant, and I wanted to bring this idea home to Canada. I wanted Canadians to know that we could hold jobs, that we could contribute, that regardless of sight, all would read. That we, the blind, would shape our own lives, our own destiny.
Blinded by a sniper's bullet in 1915, Edwin A. Baker went on to co-found the Canadian National Institute for the Blind, shaping a path forward for the blind across Canada for generations to come.
Hi, I'm Carol Merton, host of We All Belong, Our Neighbors, Our Community, a new Rogers TV series promoting the diversity of our community in Grey County. Please join me on Rogers TV.
They were, and now they're doing, well, they're doing flu shots, they're doing RSV shots. So now, do you know by chance when those the flu shots and the COVID shots will be available? I think it's the end of September, early October.
Yeah, September 22nd. If you're at high risk, you can get your COVID and RSV shots, plus also your flu shots. For the general population, the date that we've been told is probably going to be closer to the end of October, somewhere around October 27th. But if you're at a high risk, so if you're in a nursing home setting, a setting that there's many people in the community in one house, they'll be the ones given the shots first and the earliest. So yeah.
Yeah, I know there's good information on the Ministry of Health website if anyone wants to pursue that, or talk to your pharmacist. They'll tell you.
Yep.
They'll tell you. So yeah, it's one of those things. I hate to draw a parallel, but it's kind of like changing your snow tires.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Same time.
That's right.
Get your shots.
Yep.
Why do I feel like my dog? Oh well.
Okay.
Anyway, let's move on to another area. I remember when we talked last, it was just after your election, and you had a conversation with the Federation of Agriculture, I think, the head of the Federation of Agriculture, I think it was, and the tariffs were beginning to hit hard, and you were quite surprised. What are you hearing now about the impact of tariffs on the agricultural industry? Has it been as bad as you expected, or are farmers coping?
Well, I think we're coping. I think it's been really important. The CUSMA deal that we signed a few years ago, that's helped protect us. So at the start, when there was a lot of uncertainty, I think that was around the first of April or so. Nobody really seemed to know the rules, and all of a sudden somebody look at, hey, here's the CUSMA deal. This is what we signed up for. It's good for another 2 or 3 years. These are the rules we agreed on, and all of a sudden that helped kind of bring the states back in line. Not everything is covered under CUSMA, but there's a lot of products that are covered under CUSMA, and fortunately for the agriculture industry, a lot of the products that we make or that we produce are covered right now. Now they're wanting to look over the agreement next year, I think it is, to update it. But it's the part of government's part that to make sure that we don't get stuck into a bad deal. It's more of a federal issue than it is a provincial issue. But as the provinces push up information to the feds, we can make sure that we emphasize how important it is to have a good deal for all of Ontarians. Through the CUSMA deal, the steel and aluminum and wood products aren't covered, and they're taking it more on the chin. But the auto pack and the CUSMA deal has certainly given us some ability to weather the storm and make sure that things don't get out of hand. So it's always a concern. Anytime, and I think we've started to realize that anytime that you move your product across a border, if those two countries don't get along, there's always risk, and it's important to realize that, and people have to make sure that they know the risk and accept the risk. Some of the things we've done for the agriculture industry, we increased the risk management program that we have, and that helps. It doesn't solve it by any means, but it maybe helps buffer it a little bit. So if there's a downturn in one commodity, they have the ability to go to that risk management program to help try and bridge the low times to back to the more of the normal times.
And then there's things like, I mean, you drive through Grey Bruce and you'll see a lot of corn and a lot of
Yep.
soybeans.
Yep.
And I mean, the grain's all in, but the corn and soybeans is yet to come off, or it's in the process of coming off right now. And yet, I suspect those soybeans are going to be in storage.
Yeah, some of them, and some of them are already sold, pre-sold into the market. But these are some of the things that you have to be concerned about, and our best way to help weather the storm for the agriculture industry is through that risk management program, and like I said, we're increasing it. If I remember my numbers right, I think it went from $150 million to 250, and then we're adding another 100 million over 3 years. So this year it'll be basically 33 million more goes into those programs, and they're cost shared. So the farmer puts money in, the government puts money in, and then if the payment is triggered, then the money draws out of that fund to help the producers.
It's kind of like a form of insurance.
Oh, yeah. And so basically it's risk management insurance. And the insurance is right in the name. So no, you're correct, David, that it is basically insurance. When the good times are here, you don't need the insurance. But if the times get a little thin, a little harder, then it's nice to have that money coming in that's available to you. And that helps, how that helps the agriculture industry is it puts some stability into the agriculture industry, and it helps us when we're asking banks and farm credit for capital requirements. They want to know how we're going to pay it back, and these programs that have been created are excellent programs, and they the lenders appreciate that there is a little more stability when you have risk management than when you don't.
Well, it's kind of like having a guarantor.
Yeah.
The bank always looks. The bank will never lose its money. Come on.
That's right. No, that's right.
Banks never lose their money, but if a farmer has a producer has a guarantor to say, well, even if things go south, I've got this much.
Yeah.
The bank will still get some of their money.
That's right. Yep. No, it's one of the better programs that we have in the agriculture industry, and it's one that the commodity groups and the government has all came together on and agreed on it, and has made it go ahead. So I would say, yeah, like I said, the risk management program is an excellent program. Everybody agrees on it, and it works, and it's simple. It works and it's simple. That's the important part.
And the funny part is we don't hear a lot about those because it's kind of weedy, kind of doesn't touch a lot of people. But if we don't have it, we might not have enough food.
That's right. And
Farmers feed cities, as the saying goes.
And I seen we used to use the figure $52 billion of GDP from the agri-food sector. I think the last time I seen a figure, it was closer to 56 or $58 billion of GDP. So it's a big industry. So it's important to the economy. It's important that we do have a safe and secure food system, that we don't have to rely on other countries to feed us, because that's always a risk also. So it's good. It's the backbone of Ontario agriculture. I really believe it, because just because of its size and it's there continuously. We all have to eat, and it's important that we have that production here in Ontario.
To be sure, it's we all got to eat. It's got to come from somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah. What about the state of agriculture in Grey Bruce? I think you said in our last interview that was it beef that goes back and forth across the border up to half a dozen times? Maybe hogs are the same.
Yeah, I don't know whether they go back and forth a whole lot. Like we grow them up here, but we don't always have the facilities to process them. So some of those facilities are down in the States, and so then the cattle go down there, on trucks, and then the meat comes back, partly processed. whether it be into sides, into quarters. I don't think it goes back and forth. I think that's more the auto industry, David. If
Okay.
and hopefully I didn't lead you astray.
No, no,
By
no, no,
telling you
no.
that.
It's just clarification, Paul.
Yeah.
Just clarification because
Yeah.
I think it's always helpful for us to know where our food comes from
Yeah.
and how much tariffs and the border really do affect it.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
it's important to realize that once it goes back and forth across, those borders can be shut down. Like there is a line there that all of a sudden, if somebody wakes up and decides that they don't want to take our live cattle down there anymore, we'll struggle to find a place for them, the cattle and the hogs.
Mm-hmm.
So it is important, but we have to deal with it. It's unfortunate we're in the situation that we are now. We had such an excellent relationship with the United States before. It made it easy, and now that's changed, and we have to maybe start changing our long term outlook on how things are going to work.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Um, let's move on to the house sitting. Because it's sitting late this year. It's the end of October, is it not?
October 20th is when we're going
Hmm.
back. I think it's good. It allows me to spend more time in the riding. When you're at Queen's Park, that's a very important work to do. But it's also important to make sure that you're in the riding. So the extra time that we get that we aren't sitting down in Queen's Park, sometimes it can get a little foolish at times down there with just talking back and forth. I think is a great way for me to have more time in the riding. So it seems late, but we have enough time to put through the bills and to debate them. You can't debate them till forever. You have to have debate in the House, but it's also important that you move along. You only can talk about it for so long, and then you have to put it to a vote and decide what's going on there. So, yeah, it looks like we're maybe getting a hook here to have a break here somewhere soon. Are we, David?
Oh yeah, this we're doing things a little differently. I see my producer is saying, "Oh, no, he's saying we can keep talking.
Oh,
We can keep talking, so we're good.
you
We're
guys are
good."
slave drivers. Yeah.
Oh, when you're in this line of work, and I'm a volunteer, I got to listen to my producer,
Okay.
and we're using a
Uh,
little different technology this year, these in this go around too, Paul. So it's we'll just keep on going.
yeah.
Okay. Um, I wanted to talk a bit about something that is well, it's not an issue in this writing. That is, I believe that's true. I don't believe there are any speed cameras, municipal speed cameras. There are some in the riding to the south. I heard anecdotally recently that there are speed cameras in Shelburne. I've seen them down in Waterloo,
Yeah.
but Mr. Ford has been very, very adamant. They're nothing but a cash grab, and we're going to stop them.
Well,
So
yeah.
what's going to happen? Do you have any idea what's going to?
Well, it does seem awfully unfair, David, and
Mhm.
and I think you'd be hard pressed to find anybody that doesn't know somebody that all of a sudden has a ticket show up in the mail, and the part that kind of drives me a little bit crazy is if the speed limit's 40 or 50, if you're doing even 2 miles over, 2 kilometers over the speed limit, all of a sudden you get a ticket. And let's be honest, it's hard to keep your speed down all the time, that you don't drift up maybe up to 42, 44 sort of thing, and then all of a sudden you realize that you're going too fast and you're slowing down. So it just seems like there's no common sense to it. If you get caught going that speed, you're going to get fined all the way down right to the speed limit. And some of these speed limits been decreased. Like I even notice it here in the county. Like when I'm going through Kimberley and Eugenia, the speed limit's already gone down from 50 to 40. And so it
Well,
just it just
I hate to
seems
tell
harsh.
you, Paul. Right here in Owen Sound, 1 block from where I'm sitting, because it's right through us. It's a school zone. They dropped the speed limit from 40 to 30,
Right.
and I'm not saying that's wrong. that's a good thing because we don't things can get a little chaotic. I know that from daily experience. But you know, sometimes these speed cams, like you say, can be a little too efficient.
Right. And and I am not promoting speeding. I know the premier's not promoting speeding or anything else, but is there other ways of slowing traffic down as opposed to just finding the heck out of the working class? Because a lot of the time, the people that are getting these tickets are the everyday people that they're going back and forth to their jobs. And then what do the municipalities do with all this money? Because some of them, technically when there's a camera on it, they work 24 hours a day. They can issue a ton of tickets. So where is all this money going to? I think is a better question. Is it going to back into the infrastructure? Is it going into general revenue in the municipalities? If people want to have it, it should be. You want to make sure that it's signed well. That people realize that if you're doing 1 kilometer over the speed limit, you could have the ability to get a ticket. So it just seems like it's coming down harder on the working class citizens as opposed to other people that maybe don't use a vehicle as much as what the workers do, commuting back and forth to their jobs.
Well, I remember the day back when the CAA had what they called triptychs, which were maps that flipped up and a page of you could follow, you take your route from wherever you were going. And there was a big red stamp that said speed trap. And you even, because the American system was different, your membership card was a bail bond card.
Oh,
And you could actually produce that card and be bonded out because you went to a judge.
right.
And some of these little places had the sheriff ran the speed trap and the judge ran the court, and you went from the speed trap to the court, and then you said bye after they relieved you of 40, 50, $100.
Yeah. And like you said, so is the reason to have these speed cameras? Are they there to slow traffic down, or are they there just to be revenue generators?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if it's just going to be revenue generators, then it just seems like it's falling on the backs of the working class that probably have kids, trying to make it to the arena, to make it home, to get to work. Like there's a lot of different things, and like I said, these things just seem there's no mercy on them at all. Where when a police officer did it, there would be some common sense to it. Now it just seems like it's a cash grab to me, David.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see what the premier produces. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. And speaking of policies, the education minister has said that school boards are going to be restructured. And we've seen that 5 of the boards have had administrators put in. And that's not what we're talking about. But the minister is saying, "Hey, we need to look at the governance of our school boards." And will that be part of the fall legislation? Do you think?
No,
Or
no, I know it will be, David. I know the Minister Calandria is working at this over the summertime, and it's all about accountability. Where's the buck stop? Are these boards are they using your taxpayer dollars efficiently? Are they using them to help the education system, or are they spending money on perks? Are they spending money on things that aren't core values to the collective whole of the area? And that's where we have to be careful of. Like people can get onto their agendas and all of a sudden realize or kind of lose sight of what the end goal is. Everybody has the right to an education. What everybody decides is what education they want isn't the same. Some people think music's more important. Some people think sports are more important. Other people think reading, writing, and arithmetic are more important. And, sometimes trustees can get just a little bit offside. And when that starts happening, it's a bit of a slippery slope. And again, to me, it's all about accountability. to make sure that those boards are accountable for their actions. And if they're spending the money foolishly or not productively, then we got to make sure we have the ability to to reel them back in and say, look, this isn't your mandate to take trips over to Europe. This isn't the mandate that you have, cutting core programs so they can have programs that are nice to have. That's the important part in my mind of what's going on. We're always going to have the Catholic and the public school boards. Constitutionally, we can't just have one. It's in the Constitution that there will be the ability to have two boards. But we got to make sure we spend those dollars wisely. There's too much waste, and it's hard enough to keep the waste out of the system, let alone the keepers of the system are maybe getting a little bit too wasteful.
Well, I have a little bias there, I have to admit, Paul, because I do interview the director of education and the chair of the school board regularly on the show. Looking forward to the new director of education, although that's yet to be scheduled. We've got a balanced budget, we do have a balanced budget here in Grey Bruce, and
Right.
so they're doing their very best to spend our money efficiently. I don't think any of them have ever gone on a trip beyond Toronto.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the whole thing. And it is unfortunate that a few of the bad actors are kind of getting the whole system painted with a brush that's not right. I had some meetings with some of the school board trustees, and I can see that they're very committed to a good education program.
Yeah.
So there's always bad actors out there, and we just have to make sure we get to those actors and get them rooted out.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. The other thing is that because our trustees are elected, has the government ever considered doing something around education of what it means to be a trustee, not after you're elected, but before?
Yeah, and I think that's part of the problem is that maybe some people don't understand the responsibilities of a trustee and what their mandate is.
Yeah.
Because they have to make sure that they're accountable, that they hold their the people that do the school work, make sure they're accountable. Like it's all about accountability. And when I sat on the board of directors of Gailey Foods, I learned that very quickly, that it's not about what you think, it's about what the group thinks, and you got to make sure that the management is responsible and accountable for their actions. So I don't think you can ever have too much good governance training. And it's important that people understand when they get in the job, it's not their agenda. It's a combined agenda of all the directors and also the province of where the school system's going.
Mm-hmm. It's not helpful to have an adversarial system.
No, it doesn't work, right?
No. Well, it'll be interesting to watch to see what Mr. Calandra comes up with, and I'm sure that his staff are working on this, and well, it portends to be a very interesting fall.
Yeah. Well, and that's life right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Life is always exciting and it's always changing. So it's important.
Well, let's keep on the thread of what's coming up now. When the House comes back to starts and returns to sit in the on the 20th of October, there will be at some point, I expect, a fall economic statement.
Yeah, and being that this is my first time through, I'll know better in a year from now because I'll have gone through everything, and but yeah, I'm sure there will be a fall economic statement, and it's worrisome, to be honest with you, the fallout of the states and the tariffs. The reason why we have the ability to put money into healthcare and into education and into roads and into grants and stuff like that all works on the premise that we're building a stronger economy and we're generating more money. Since 2018, this party has never raised the percentage of the income tax that we charge from the Ontario level. We've increased the level of our economy, and that's how we've been able to increase the revenue. It's not like it's a bigger piece of the pie. The pie is the same size, just the overall size of the pie is bigger, and that's the smart way of doing it, David. Like that's how business people do it. And everybody always says they want politicians to be more like business people and not just think there's an endless pot of money that we can keep asking the public sector to give more and more to the coffers of Ontario. We want to grow the economy, grow the overall health of the economy, and that way we increase the revenue, which then allows us to have the programs that we have, like the OTF funding, the funding on arenas and roads, and like you said, healthcare, education. All those are excellent programs, but the only way we can continue increasing that funding is with a strong economy, and it's concerning. I'm cautious. Let's put it that way. That we're in a bit of a dip, and it'll be harder for the province to continue on the path that they've been on for the last was it 7 years or so now, 7-8 years.
If you get a chance, Paul, have a listen to the speech by Tiff Macklem, who's the governor of the Bank of Canada, recently in Saskatoon. He made this very point. We have to do better with our economy. And I'm thinking that's pretty strong words from the Bank of Canada. He says we blew it in 2009. We had an opportunity to do better after the last economic collapse, but we didn't do it. So now maybe now is the time. And there are external factors at play here that we all have to heed and pay attention to.
Yep.
So it's
and like I said,
it's going to be an interesting time.
Yeah, and it's not an endless pot of money. Like, we understand that with this Ontario government, that you just can't keep giving out money all the time. If you're you have to make investments. You have to make investments to make sure that 20 or 30 years down the road, that those investments are still creating a better system. I see we only got a couple of minutes here. Can I just
no, absolutely go.
Yeah,
go.
So the OSIF funding was announced last week, and I'm very proud that this is funding that the province gives to the municipalities and to the counties to help with the roads, the bridges, and the wastewater and water infrastructure. So some of these programs are the lifeline of some of these municipalities, and their ability to be able to make sure that the bridges don't get closed, that the roads don't get closed. So that funding's gone up in Bruce and Grey counties. We're getting a little bit more of the pie all the time. So I think it's some of the hard work that the rural MPPs have done to make sure that the government understands that we need as much infrastructure dollars going into rural Ontario as there is for urban Ontario. So I thought that was a real good news story here.
Absolutely, Paul. And with that, I want to thank you for joining me on Politically Speaking. Always a pleasure, always interesting. And friends, thank you for joining us on Politically Speaking. My guest has been Paul Vickers, the MPP for Bruce-Grey-Owen Sound. Oh yes, there's lots more to come. Yeah. We will talk again. Thank you, Paul. Take care.
Thanks, David. Bye.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
Hi, I'm Carol Merton, host of HealthLink on Rogers TV. HealthLink connects home, community, and healthcare with interesting topics and speakers about your health and your community.
great to be here.
It feels like coming home.
I'm ready, baby. Oh my God.
Not that song. Oh my God, Cynthia.
Tamara, it's time to leak some info.
Did you date Nick Cage?
Yes, I did. You weren't expecting that, were you?
Who to you is the most toxic man on the valley? It's a big